Okay, you have your NFL Week 17 prediction. So filming this on Christmas Day, so I don't know all the results yet. But you have your first game, the Chiefs versus Broncos. The Broncos play right now against the Rams, and the Chiefs coming off a win against the Seahawks. Chiefs, it was not a great win versus the Seahawks. Their second half, their offense was just sluggish. It became a defensive matchup. And the Chiefs, these last couple of weeks, have not really played a complete game. So I can see this as a potential upset. And the Broncos, not sure if Russell Wilson's going to be back, but they do have a good defense. But their offense is definitely lacking. But they have won, what, two straight? And I can see this as a potential upset with the Broncos almost beating the Chiefs last time. But I see the Chiefs wanting the number one seed, and I have them winning. Then you have the Texans versus the Jaguars, another potential upset. Texans coming off a win against the Titans. Their defense played well, shut down the Titans' passing game. Um, their offense did just enough. While the Jaguars, they're coming off a win against the Jets. Their defense played great. Their offense was just it was all right. And this one's definitely a potential upset. These two games, Texans and Jaguars, are always close, these divisional games. And Jaguars right now to me are way too high of a team, so I'm going to take the Jaguars. Then you have the Ravens versus the Steelers. Ooh, Ravens coming off a not a good win over the Falcons, and the Steelers coming off a win against the Raiders. And the Ravens, not a pretty win. They did do just enough. Their offense did just enough to beat the Falcons, and their defense did well. The Steelers, it's pretty similar story. Their offense did just enough, and their defense played well. And this is going to be a very ugly game, and this one's going to be close. I think the Ravens won the first time, so I'm going to take the Steelers. Then you have the Patriots versus the Dolphins. Ooh, this is another a close game. The Dolphins coming off a loss against the Packers, while the Patriots coming off a loss against the Bengals. The Patriots did try and come back versus the Bengals in the second half, but that was more of the Bengals making a lot of mistakes. And the Dolphins lost similar because they made too many mistakes, too many interceptions. And this one's going to be a tight game. It's a divisional rival game, so it's always close. But the Dolphins have been playing well against the Patriots in the past 3 years, so I'm going to take the Dolphins here. Then you have the Bengals versus the Bills. Ooh, this is going to be probably the top game on Monday night. Bengals coming off a win against the Patriots. Not a very pretty win, but a win nonetheless. The offense pretty much just shut down the second half. Their defense played well. They did lose one of their guards, which is not going to be good against the Bills, um who did well versus the Bears. Game was a lot closer than the score was, and the Bills' run game did a lot better versus the Bears, and their defense did better in the second half. Josh Allen, he's played good, but a couple of ugly turnovers like that could cost the Bills the win. But I'm gonna still take the Bills here. Then you have the Titans versus the Cowboys. Ooh, a very interesting game on Thursday night. Titans right now, I think they've dropped five in a row right now. They cannot pass whatsoever with Malik Willis, and I'm not sure if he's going to be playing this game. Their defense is all right, but the Cowboys, their offense is so explosive. Their defense has not been playing great these last couple of games, but I'm still sticking the Cowboys here. Then you have the Commanders versus the Browns. Browns lost to the Saints. Commanders, um, they lost. They lost and they lost to the Niners. And this one, Browns they just aren't playing good football right now. Commanders they need to win this to stay in the playoffs. So I'm gonna take the Commanders, and they have home field advantage. And the Giants versus the Colts. Giants come off a close loss versus the Vikings, and the Colts play on Monday night against the Chargers. Potential upset. But I think but I think the Colts are starting Nick Foles for this, so I'm not too worried. Their Colts have been lacking. I'm taking the Giants. Then you have the Raiders versus the Niners. Niners just team is just way too talented, and the Raiders just lost the Steelers. I'm gonna take the Niners here. Then you have the Jets versus the Seahawks. Ooh, this one's an interesting game. Both teams are trending in the wrong direction. They both lost. The Jets to Jacksonville, and the Seahawks to the Chiefs. The Seahawks offense just has not been good these last couple of weeks, and I'm not sure why. Their defense has regressed. Jets offense this season has just been bad. And the defense played well against a good Jacksonville defense, but I'm not sure if they can carry them. And the Seahawks have home field advantage, so I'm gonna take the Seahawks. Then you have the Rams versus the Chargers. Um, Rams play right now. The Chargers play on Monday night. The Rams they pretty much gave up on the season. And the Chargers need this win to be stay in the playoffs. I'm gonna take the Chargers. You have the Bucks versus the Panthers. Ooh, this one's gonna be for the NFC South, and the Bucks the Bucks play tonight, and the Panthers come off a surprise win over Seahawks. Panthers offense has been playing a lot better, and that could cause problems for Bucks, who has not played well at all. The Panthers defense need a little work, but they've been playing a lot better. But the Bucks, they still have Tom Brady, but their offense has been horrible. Their defense hasn't been that good, been average. But I'm gonna still take the Buccaneers here. Then you have the Falcons versus the Cardinals. Cardinals without Kyler Murray have pretty much given up on their season. Their defense regressed. And the Falcons, even though they cannot pass whatsoever, they can run it. I think that will be enough to beat the Cardinals. Then you have the Bears versus the Lions. Ooh. Lions, they're coming off a loss against the Panthers. Bears coming off a loss against the Bills. Bears actually played well in the first half versus the Bills. Justin Fields had a couple of good games, but when they are forced to throw, they couldn't. And the Bears defense isn't that good. The Lions defense is even worse, and their offense just didn't do that well last week. But I'm still taking the Lions. Then you have the Eagles against the Saints. Another potential trap game for the Eagles, especially if Jalen Hurts is not playing. But I think Jalen Hurts is playing, and the Saints' offense isn't that good. But I think their defense will slow down the Eagles. But I think the Eagles will prevail. So I'm gonna take the Eagles. And you have the Packers versus the Vikings. Packers coming off a win against the Dolphins, and the Vikings come off another close win versus Giants. It's a divisional game. It's always going to be close, and the Vikings are the king of the one-score games. So I'm going to take the Vikings. So there you have it, my NFL Week 17 predictions.